something a little bit more.
All right. Hello, everybody. We are here. Bearar has graciously decided that he would host for us in this emergency time. I am OP Rights, and I'm here with Warning Track. We'll be casting a live match of pwndnoob versus jyaty today in the round of 16 for Winter Cup.
Yeah, our first live match of the Winter Cup so far. I think there's going to be more from the sound of things. And live matches are always a little messy, but a little more exciting as a result too. So I'm really looking forward to it.
No one has seen these results. You know, usually when I cast these things, I at least know the game score of the results because I am the person everyone reports to. No one knows, not even me. That's what's going on right now.
Not even Opie, who knows so many things, knows the results of this. The competitors don't know. Nobody knows. You're going to find out pretty much exactly the same time as we will right here on stream. And they're almost ready to get started. They're having a little discussion about the rules right now, which, hey, who runs this thing anyway? Is there anyone we can ask?
I'm right here, actually. Yeah, surprisingly enough. Let's see.
They're for those who can't see the chat, they're talking about whether or not you can defer the choice.
Yes, you can.
Than another, and whether or not that earns you the right to spy or snipe first. It looks like pwndnoob is called heads. You all need to know that. And they're talking about, well, I'm not going to repeat everything they're saying because some of it's a little R-rated, but this Time Party lobby is very interesting this afternoon. Okay,
so we should be ready. Yeah, Catnip is correct in that the winner of the coin toss chooses which person chooses the set first. That choice can be deferred to the other person if you want, if you don't care.
Right. And we might as well just clear this up for everyone watching, too, since a number of competitors are probably going to be watching this now or later. Does that also mean that you can de facto choose whether you spy or snipe first? Because if you defer the choice, it's as if they chose first. Do you see what I mean?
Sorry, restate that, please.
So is it whoever chooses the venue set first is never the person who chooses spy or snipe first? It's always one and then the other?
Yeah, it's. I mean, if
But what if you
both players
defer the
agree,
choice? Yeah, does that count as a
if
choice?
both players agree to just swap it, that's fine, I guess. It's really one player wants to be choosing the pick order, and the other one picks spy snipe order. That's really all that matters. You don't even need a coin flip necessarily if both players are in agreement on which they want to do.
Sure.
It's just a randomizer, right?
Right, but you know how it works. If people don't agree, they need a structure, right? And
Yes.
so so the sticking point here is if they defer the choices, that still count as choosing.
Anyway,
it sounds like you've settled it for now, but we'll talk about that for the next match.
Yes.
I think the way people have been treating it is whoever picks the map set first, that counts as the choice. The deferring has not been counting as the choice. Whether that's correct or not, or needs clarification, I guess we'll get into soon enough. But in this case, we're going to start off, oh boy, at Tayen, and Noob is spying first, which is what he preferred. Regardless of the actual mechanics of how it happened, Noob wanted to spy first, and he's going to get that.
All right, so we probably should be just jumping right into this as soon as this player's sync. So looks like we're going.
We are going.
pwndnoob starting off on Oprah as spy on Tayen. Did we see who picked which set?
I think Noob picked the modern set, but I'm not sure.
Gotcha. Okay, started off with a very, very innocent conversation here. No one here except for the ambassador. Smallman just left, but he wasn't even our seduction target, so it is completely innocent. No missions to be done around.
Yeah, a very slow start from Noob. Didn't even really take control for a little while there, which is probably a good idea on Tayen unless you really want to rush something. There's a lot more chaos in the type of chaos here.
Yes, and here comes the banana bread. It's a pretty good one. I think there's 2 lowlights available. If we go and see, yeah, got both of them.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that's slightly below average. I'm gonna put the over under at 2.5 on a normal Tayen one, unless you're really patient with it. And I feel like you actually don't want to be too patient with it.
Right. So, pwndnoob, the first seed from his group versus jyaty, the second seed, going under David W. in their in jyaty's group here. So, pwndnoob coming in as the favorite, as the first seed from his group, but we have seen upsets before in this tournament so far.
Yeah, and just in general. And we talk about this, you don't tend to see crazy upsets in SCL because people are already grouped in general tiers, even if they're not perfect. Where you see upsets are in tournaments that exist outside of that don't have pre-rankings. You see it in the Summer Cup sometimes, they're not as often. You're seeing it more in the Winter Cup because in many cases, these are the only opportunities we get for those big upsets.
And that was an attempted behind-the-back bug, reverse drive-by rather. Did not come off though. So
yeah, it did not come off, and
fortunately, those things are
it's really shocking.
On Tayen.
It's really shocking how often you don't see the missed bugs on Tayen. Yeah. They're almost free.
Yeah, they're so hard to see. As I like to say, the only really way to catch a bug on Tayen is to watch idle animations, which is very difficult to do.
It's very difficult to do, and it's not even foolproof because sometimes, if they're particularly good about the bug, I know Sari has a couple idle animations where you can time it with a natural lean, and it's borderline imperceptible. So
white
it really
test
depends on how
time ad. So we got a green test and a white test, 2 time ads in the back there.
That hair though,
a lot of time to this game.
That hair though is really sticking out of that shoji. That is not the first character I'd choose to hide in that corner and do time ads.
Right, but it doesn't seem that jyaty's noticed quite yet. There's been no lowlights coming off for it, so might have gotten away scot-free with that.
If you get away with 2 time ads on Tayen, you're gonna get to the point where basically every person in the party could have bugged.
And that was a shot. That was a shot on general. Looks like probably for going to statues, having the BB, crediting the bug.
Crediting the bug, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the crazy Kaylee theory of Tayen. Go to shoot the first person who finishes statues in BB.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. JY in the last 2 seasons, in Season 3, JY shot civilians at a slightly lower rate than the rest of his division, which was bronze. And then last season, though, that ticked up a little bit until it was right in line with the bronze average. So it's a small sample size one season over the next, but his civilian shot rate did go up slightly last season, and we see it happen here. Although on Tayen, I wouldn't read too much into it yet.
All right, so we got the next game coming up here.
If you guys are ready, 3,
2,
1.
All right. Jyaty. On teal, looks like we're gonna head into conversation, a much less instant conversation than the one that started off last game. We have a seduction target in it, and we have a potential contact if we want it. And it looks like we do. We're gonna take it immediately.
Banana bread.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a white.
If you can just guarantee the 2 lowlights and get it done, and you're pretty confident, that an SDA's in there, and you have to play the odds there, you just take it and be done. I like to wait a little bit, generally speaking, but if you get a good opportunity early, just go ahead and take it.
Yeah, pretty quick leave on into statues. Picks up the highlight, probably just for statues, but it might have also been for the early leave after BB. It's very hard to tell because those are both things people will highlight for.
Yeah. JY, a lot of activity here, and let's see what pwndnoob expects. Yeah, all over it. And this is very much in keeping with JY. He times out pretty rarely, or at least right in line with the CL average total.
And I think you can definitely wait there on that bug. You don't need to take a walking bug that wait for something that's just going to be a better opportunity. I think on Tane especially.
Yeah, so the only argument I think for a good walking bug is that there are certainly other positions where it can be very powerful. But, as we always say, if you are patient on Taen, you're going to get a better bug opportunity than that. So I think the real reason to do it is to just force them to try to shoot real quickly and just kind of rush, which seemed to be the idea there with all that mission progress already. Just dare them to shoot early on Taen, which you really don't want to do if you can help it. But noob all over it.
And next up is library. 3, 2, 1, clink.
All right. Library is our 5-8 map for the Taen set. Looks like they're going Taen, Library, then Pub, as far as this goes. Starting off again on teal, this time for pwndnoob. Second teal in a row. Looks like we're gonna go flirt. Pretty quickly from that conversation, but I don't think we've even seen in that conversation necessarily. There was not much attention on us there, so it's really doesn't really matter what you do behaviorally if the sniper just doesn't see it. Takes a fingerprint, gets marked suspicious for it though.
Yeah, and that's really significant, actually, because if you're trying to play that slow-paced game where maybe you're just going to do one hardtail instead of 2, and you're going to get a fingerprint off a book or something, if JY's on it already, that's going to be tough. That's not how noob plays. He likes to play slow. He likes to foment paranoia, as we saw in the previous one.
Right.
And that works pretty well on library. Also works well with his penchant for time ads.
And one wonders if maybe that was an attempt at bookmarking that got him highlight, but it might just it's still just bad to be highlighted at all right now. And it looks like he is going to go for this microfilm transfer. Sniper has not seen that he's over here yet. Now he has. Does he remember where that book came from? I think he might. He's kind of hovering over teal right now, but
well,
looks like
library. Definitely one of the maps where you can be pretty certain about something like that, and if you have presence of mind, you know with more confidence than on most venues that they're not going to be done yet, and you can hold that shot. So you really have to. If something, obviously you're talking about high-rise or pub or some 3-5 variant where maybe you think you see a bug and who knows what happened. Maybe there was a quick 2-flirt, whatever. Even ballroom sometimes. What did you miss, right?
Right.
But on library, you can be pretty darn confident that unless a lot of things lined up really well for them, there's no reason to shoot yet.
Yeah, and interesting decision to walk into that yellow bookcase. When you've already been seen at, well, 1 if they don't suspect the microfilm, or 2 if they do, getting seen at a 3rd is it kind of attracts the eye. Like, hey, this person's been to a lot of books. Are they action test microfilming here? And that's just a question that you kind of ask yourself as a sniper when you see them going into a bunch of bookcases like this. So I don't think. I think that was meant to look innocent, but it can attract attention sometimes. BB looks like he's gonna get the bug during low lights, and he gets it off already.
Banana bread.
Yeah, that's a very common tactic. The grabbing a tell while someone is low lighting for their BBs, and especially on library, it's very strong because the sniper has to swing all the way over to other places. Fingerprint. Oh, But as we get this fingerprint, we're marked neutral suspicion. So
Yeah, that's pretty significant.
So it looks like it maybe not on top of the fingerprints as we thought. Looks like
No. That might have been
we do,
something else. Might have even been a misclick, as you mentioned, for possible
we
bookmark.
we do need a green flirt here though to finish off. We only have 20 seconds and we're being watched.
Yeah.
It seems.
Well, you can aggressively flirt, leave, and come back. It's a little suspicious, but it's not a huge deal on library. Exactly.
We do hit the green flirt though, so we got a mission countdown and we're not gonna get shot. We're gonna take this win. It's gonna be I believe that's 2-1 pwnndnoob. Or
Jeez.
did
No, 3-0.
3-0, yeah. Because
3-0 noob, just right out of the gate. Just boom, boom, boom.
Swept that Tayan, and now he is up 3-0.
Yeah, and remember, 7 wins it.
library.
7 wins it outright. They don't keep playing after that. The scores don't matter anymore. All that matters is win or lose, totally binary. And I guess we're into the next game already. This is particularly significant, not just because a 3-0 lead is a big lead when you only need 7, of course, but it's because pwnndnoob has shown him 2 very different spy games already. Professional baseball players will often say that even if they're behind in the count, if they've seen the pitcher's best pitch in the first few pitches, they're in a much better position because they know what it looks like now. That's kind of what's happened here. Noob has shown him 2 different spy games, one where he's clearly playing it cool, and one where he's getting things done at a pretty steady clip. The only thing he hasn't shown him is an out-and-out rush. So if you're JY, next time you're on Sniper, you really can't bank on anything. He's not beating you a certain way. He's beating you multiple ways.
Yeah. All right. Ready to go into the next one?
Oh, yeah, it should be autoplay. I'm at 3:20.
Okay, I'll skip there. Oh, God.
Yeah, track's on the
3.
right then.
I thought we weren't doing on the play.
We were, yeah.
Okay, let me turn off caster mode so I can skip forward.
Not a whole lot going on, though. Just 51% flirt for JY, but he's already got a highlight for it, and he is moving around quite a bit as Papa Danger.
It's 258 now?
Pretty close, yeah.
Okay, close enough. Sure. Let's do that then. Putting myself back on casting mode, and there we go.
Yeah, well, you picked a good time. There's absolutely nothing going on other than that 51% flirt. Normally, when you get a 51% flirt like that, you see people rush and try to finish flirt quick and be done with it. But no, JY just moving around a lot. He does have 2 inspects, though, now. Or he's trying to get 2 inspects. And he does. He gets 2, goes to a side statue deliberately. And, you know, we've got half the flirt done. We've got most of the inspect done. But we've already got a highlight. Noob has taken several behavioral lowlights already, although he just reversed one on Salmon. And I don't feel like the trade-off of mission progress to suspicion is very good right now for JY.
Yeah, and what's interesting about these lowlights is, like, you bring them back up as soon as they do anything, which is, well, at least and at least pwnndnoob tends to. As soon as they go to statues, you know, he'll bring them back up. So those lowlights are very, very kind of fluid. So even if you do end up getting lowlit, which obviously we're not here, we're highlight instead. You will be brought back up if you start doing missions.
And there's a benefit to that, too. It also means that if he seems to have narrowed the party down a lot, it's not as bad as it looks because he still has to watch them.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the trade-off. The trade-off is certainty of lowlights versus the attention you still have to expend on them. Obviously, it's of less benefit to lowlight someone if you're going to keep watching them anyway. If you totally exclude them, then you can really focus. So it seems more intimidating than it is, but it actually means that they still have to look at a lot of things. Those are some hard lowlights, though.
We have jyaty running around here. Puts this book right back into green. He ran away with it from yellow earlier, then he went into a conversation and just blitzed out of that one. So he has been moving around quite a bit, but pwnndnoob has been kind of looking at the left side of the party a lot recently, so it seems that he's missed most of that activity, which I think he would definitely be on to jyaty really big here if he noticed that kind of activity.
Yeah, that mission progress has really flipped, and suddenly he's in a pretty good position here. A little low on time. He's going to have to get moving. I think if he had 20 or 30 seconds more right now, he'd actually be a favorite, but we're going to have a bit of a rush here. And Noob is one who stresses...
Do you know how you win this game?
Inspect swap. I think we don't say that on stream. It's just called inspect swap because that's actually describing what's happening. And I think Noob, he moved away just as it became visible. He's going to have just a second here to look at the end. I don't think he's going to be able to shoot here.
No,
he timed it just wrong. Just wrong. So he looks over at, I think, about 6 or 7 seconds into 6 or 7 seconds left on the mission win countdown, and the new statue is visible, but you can see he's using the slant mechanic. He's sort of looking to the side a little bit. His eyes are actually not expecting the swap yet. That was his chance, because after that, he can hold it in front of him long enough. And then at the very end, Papa Danger only has to stand there for about 2 seconds, and you really can't shoot. You can't assume that's a block at that point. So he had one chance to catch that swap, and his eyes just were not there.
Yeah. And that was definitely the route to victory there, because you just didn't have that much time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that pretty much was it. Yeah, that's what you had to do. I'm a little surprised it worked though. Again, Noob got one nice clear look at that.
Yeah.
So.
And now we're back to pub. Any 3 of 5, the last map in this set. Let's look at these missions. Looks like we turned off swap, which is fairly standard. You usually don't see swap on pub, and fingerprint off, which is the interesting one because you got purloin on, purloin bug on. So you're not really looking to frame here. It looks like.
Probably not. You're banking on it less at least. You're still gonna have the opportunity with the inspect though. Usually the choice is between fingerprint and purloin.
Yeah.
And we're right into it.
Yep. On pub for pwnoob, 3-1 right now, and he is just AI controlling on small men right into this bad conversation.
Yeah, slow play is Smallman. Okay, sure. Break a little animation there for the sip. That's all right. Who's going to be looking at that over there? We talked earlier about framing. Does it change your opinion about framing now that he's Smallman on pub? I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely harder to frame when you're playing one of the more suspicious characters in the game. And look at this. If you had fingerprints on right now, both statues would have fingerprints.
I mean, this is what it's like, right? Sometimes you turn on fingerprint.
Oh, wait, no, never mind. That was Salmon. That was Salmon in the back. The ambassador was just overlapping him from my view. Never mind.
Even
just the back statue.
Well, even just one. I mean, right away, if the Emba immediately touches a statue, you're probably immediately thinking, well, I wish I could have that one over. You're really just gambling with, what's the Emba going to touch? Same thing when you leave Inspect on Terrace. Same thing, right? Is anyone going to finish the Inspect, yes or no? You just don't know. It's just a gamble.
And yeah, usually the answer for Terrace is no, they won't, because it's just so hard for them to. You have to visit twice, and you have to visit the separate sets of statues to get those inspects done. So it's very rare for AIs to finish inspects on Terrace, which is why you turn those off. But we're on pub right now. Inspects, only one visit.
Yeah, JY, by the way, very strong on pub last season. 83% sniper win rate, 50% spy win rate. I think that was the 4-7 variant, though. But
yeah,
generally
4-7 variant is for SCL.
Yeah, I think it still carries over a bit, though. I think there's a lot of comfort there.
Yeah, just seeing the same layout of the venue and all of that. It can be very like.
Well, because there's pathing too.
Yeah,
it depends on whether or not there's a pathing issue.
You know how people will like look for cover in bugs, things like that, and just generally knowing the map.
Perhaps more significant is the fact that Noob just didn't play pub last year. He had one game all year in Season 4 on pub, so just not something he's just had a lot of time on competitively.
Yeah, and we'll see if it shows here.
Trying to frame Teal, I think.
Might be. Looks like. Looks like he did just do that to frame Teal.
Not sure, though. So he was between Teal and Seek, and they have the highlights appropriately. Teal obliges by leaving the conversation after. That's exactly what you want from your frame target. And let's see what she does now. This is a big moment here.
She's going to go grab a briefcase? No, just going to Windows. I thought it was a briefcase back there, but it's in the ambassador's hands right now.
And let's see what she does. At this point, the fact that JY hasn't shot is very significant. It's pretty much on Teal to do something or not.
Yeah. And if Teal, has Teal been to statues? I don't believe so. If she goes to statues, she will get shot, I think.
Almost certainly. At that point, you just have to gamble. You have to say, really? Is the AI going to be that friendly to my opponent? Well, maybe they are. Here it comes. Nope, going to the bar instead. That's big. That's huge.
Because they're going to be there for quite a while now.
Noob's going to try to frame Seek now. He knows it's not going to work with Teal. She's not doing enough. He's forcing in the decision.
He did do it during the talk, and there's a real double agent over there, so he knows. And it works. He takes a shot on Seek.
Wow.
pwndnoob manages to frame.
That's really significant. I don't know if Seek could have really been I guess he could have been done, yeah. I guess that was his Hail Mary there. I think he clearly wanted to frame Teal, and then when Teal went to get a drink instead of go to statues, he realized this is my only hope. It's actually very fortunate that Seek stayed there that long with a suspected double agent there. Because, if either one of them leaves, that game is over, and it's just going to be a timeout. Because JY had every indication of not shooting until his hand was forced there.
Right. And now that is, 4-1 to pwndnoob, going into the second pub round.
Yep. But JY has looked really strong the last couple games. That was a really strong spy win, and that sniper loss just now, I mean, it's just one of those annoying coin flips, right? You just kind of have to use your general judgment, and you're either 100% on it, which is pretty hard, or you have to make a coin flip decision. And Noob, famously, he talks about this very openly. If you're the spy in a lot of these setups against good snipers, you're going to take that coin flip every time. If you can get it down to 50-50, great.
Yeah. It could, because I agree with that. I agree with that, because 50-50
Most of the time I agree
on
with
these
that,
kind of
yeah.
maps.
Yeah.
You know, snipers are usually very, very favored on 3 of 5 maps. Just
That's interesting,
because,
yeah. Maybe. I think the 50-50 is a no-brainer on anything quote-unquote harder than a 3-5.
yeah.
On a 3-5, it depends a little bit more, but it's never terrible odds, right? Even if you're
So-
really good at these, even if your opponent's really bad at them.
So let's look at these missions, though. Fingerprints on, purloins off.
Yep.
So we have a few more options to. Well, actually, I say a few more options to frame, but the purloin frame worked very well last time.
Right.
So-
Yeah. It's let's say the soft frame. There could be
soft
more
frame.
soft tail completes, but look at the ambassador right now. Very well protected, kind of just hanging out, briefcase by their side, not touching anything, and nobody is even allowed to touch their briefcase without it being a hard tail right now. This is what you don't want when you leave fingerprint on, at least so far.
And honestly, out of the 3 of 5 maps, pub is probably the least favored towards sniper.
That's fair.
Just
Yeah.
because of the one inspect is a whole mission,
Right.
and you know, you do that, you do a contact and you do a flirt, and you're done. It's I'd say terrorist is probably the worst for spy,
Banana
just
bread.
because
Agreed.
of the difficulty in getting
Yeah.
those missions done
Yes.
without dying,
Yep,
and
that's-
high rise kind of sits in between them.
On the BB, that's 2 hard lowlights. 5 people could have done a real BB. And Noob
Yeah.
aggressively lowlighting for a briefcase take. I guess he just liked it. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
behavioral or mechanical, but whatever it is, that knocks out one of the 5 people who could have real BB'd. So that's pretty significant. But that's still a really good banana bread from JY. And now he's 1 flirt away, and Noob is going to have to be all over the flirt situation. Will he shoot? If he is all over the flirt situation too, he's going to know it's only 2 flirts. Are you willing to
Yeah.
shoot for that?
And that is the question here. You have to think, okay, did he just like 3 green this?
Right.
And
It's
it's
close to
a
a-
very balcony-esque.
Yes. Yes, it
Scenario.
is. It absolutely is. Now, this is interesting because he's going over to ostensibly flirt, but is he going to be close enough for the green to matter?
I think he is. These conversations are pretty small on pub.
Yes, true. Yeah, you don't have to stand next to them the way you do in a conversation on Ballroom to hit that. And remember, he only needs 49%, so this might be just close enough by a matter of pixels. Let's see.
Flirt
Doesn't matter.
but it's a white. It does not matter now.
But he's got enough time to timer flirt here. There's a little over a minute left.
The question is, does he get shot for his 3rd flirt?
I don't think so, but if he has to chase in the last 15 seconds, I think he might. I think Noob has got it obviously pretty effectively narrowed down. He's got 2 real BBers there, but they're right next to each other. It's Sari and Wheels. Sari's
Yeah.
going to talk again at some point. She
I
picked
think
up a
the
highlight
main
there.
I think the main issue for JY here is that
He flashes onto hair for a briefcase. He's still paying attention to those lowlights and those fingerprints.
the main issue for JY here is that he doesn't really have time to like throw off the ST timer that pwndnoob might be tracking. If
Right,
pwndnoob
here
is tracking
it
the cooldown, he's gonna see that this happened right as the cooldown happens. He's gonna
Yeah.
be thinking, okay, this
No,
could be
he's
a
not
thing.
reacting. No, he's not reacting. That's going to be a win. By the way, possible the lowlights were tracking fingerprints because we saw Papa Danger get a lowlight for one there, and we saw a lowlight taking a print later. He might just be using a lighting system there, really. And that's what happens when people don't hard lowlight
And-
very often. That's just a
and
really
JY
strong win from JY.
Yeah, JY brings it back on pub, 4-2 now in pwndnoob's favor. So looking like we might just get a close match here.
I mean, after all, right, especially when you consider that 1 or 2 of those games that JY lost were very swingy. Again, he had it down to 50-50 for one of those, and it was just a nice, solid frame. JY, after maybe a little bit of a slow start, has absolutely played as well or better in the last several games, but that early deficit looming large.
Yeah, because you don't have much room. If pwndnoob just has to keep it steady, and now we're being on gallery.
Yeah, this is a pretty big game right here.
Jumps right into statues. That's where, you know, his AI took him. Oh, instant swap. Does it get seen? That's the question. Did JY have the time to notice what these statues were? And gallery in particular sometimes can be very hard because there's a lot of occlusion right at the beginning, and there's like many statues in a row. So if it turns out that that he was not able to see that'll be pretty big, and it doesn't look like he was.
Well, here's the thing, right? You'll very often get situations where you can't be sure a swap happened, but you have to, like with a bug path, maybe a little more
You have to
suspicious than
credit
that.
that, yeah.
You have to say this person could have swapped. If everything else they do is like a spy completing, then I have to be maybe willing to take that shot. White Purloin in a crash,
Crash.
and he's
looks like
clearly whoa.
whoa! He's gonna get
I
low lit.
I was just about to say he was so clearly walking away from Toby when the sniper looked up. So clearly walking away from Toby. I don't know what that low light could possibly mean. You could not have asked for a better who's walking away from the list right when the crash happened. It was absolutely
Yeah, he's just
rocker.
walking right at the sniper cam, but maybe he
I
just
don't get
didn't
it.
see.
Yeah.
Toby turns when you break that animation. Maybe the turnaround there.
Yeah. Convinced him he
made
was
it look
coming
like-
from bookshelves or something. He might have misjudged the depth and thought he was coming from blue bookshelves. That's all I could think of. It's like a cough sometimes. You get a little bit of a panic on the sniper side sometimes, and they just react a little too quick.
The real question is, does pwndnoob complete? Does he think he's very suspicious?
Right.
It kind of seems like he does, because he's in this innocent conversation just outside doing nothing.
Right.
So
That's the key, right? If you get low lit, you still have to finish potentially, if you and to really take advantage of it. But why on earth would you think you got a low light off that? It doesn't make sense, really.
Yeah.
It's not something you should expect at all. So it's more likely that the odds of a timeout just went through the roof.
Absolutely. But it is a bug here, so that that
The
changes
ambassador, very friendly, perfect timing, and there's list takes, drink takes rather going on in the back. So JY is zooming in during the bug. It's not on screen at all, and Noob now is thinking,
now our
okay,
seduction target just comes
this
up
is ridiculous.
and says hi, pwndnoob, and then the SC just leaves for us.
This could not be going better. The thing is, though, here's the big question, though. Even with all that party luck piling on, is Noob going to want to go to statues again after an instant white swap and what they have to imagine is suspicion for the crash? That's the big question.
I think they might. Okay, pwndnoob at the very least is going to get this flurb. He's going to get it.
I think he's going to
one
purloin
mission away.
I think he's going to purloin again because who would do that, right? That's a very Pwnoob kind of decision to make, is to purloin anyway after that.
So,
I don't think he was going to finish until that Amba came up to him. I think that helps a lot.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I think the crash, like, even though
There it is.
pwndnoob
Yep,
got
there
low
it
lit,
is. There it is.
even though pwndnoob got low lit, I think the crash just immediately upped jyaty's chances of winning. But then the ambassador and the seduction target in a line, just coming in to go help.
Yeah, that's ridiculous, and that's
the
going to be
list
the
is
game.
now gone, and
That's gonna be the game.
shot comes off, and it's a good timing. Oh, the shot doesn't quite come off.
Nope.
I thought
nope.
the shot was about to come off, but no.
No.
It was it was about to be a good timing shot, but it just pwndnoob manages to make that game work.
I mean, there's not too much to analyze here. It's just misjudging the low light, and that's the game. But again, it's not just that. I don't think the low light was going to be enough because of the way it happened. It also required multiple people with those colorful little arrows over their heads walking right up to us in the front of gallery, where the sniper is looking less in general anyway. Good grief. Wow.
And that's just brutal for JY. Like, yes, the misjudged low light is a mistake, but
Yes.
even then, you
That's,
know, there is a certain amount of, gosh, that's just unfortunate.
Yeah.
when
That's
when
pretty
you
crazy.
have when
Yeah.
the spy suddenly is like, oh yeah, I can finish now.
I mean, I've had those game plans where I'm like, I'm not planning on finishing, and then the ambassador comes up to me, I bug, and I think, oh yes, I am. I mean, you have to be able to do that, right? And if you're Noob, you're just thinking, well, okay, I guess maybe I'm destined to win this set. It's 5-2 now, by the way. They really don't need to do anything too fancy now.
It's getting pretty close to pwndnoob blocking this up, but JY still has a chance to bring it back. He has some leeway. It's not at the game, the match point yet. Right.
Yeah. No. JY obviously really needs a win here. You're really not too likely to win 4 in a row at the end of a set. They're gonna need a spy win here. The question is, does Noob kind of keep with his usual style? Is he gonna take those behavioral lowlights, those aggressive lowlights, because he's up 5-2 now? He really just needs to not give away too much.
Yeah. And JY starting off here on Seek.
Yeah, and he's going to end up right at shelves. Be interesting to see if this is something he actually wants to do something with, or if he's going to lay low a little bit, because again, Noob will low light or inactivity.
Yeah, and as you were saying, you know, does pwndnoob take these aggressive low lights? You know, what is he willing to be aggressive with? because all he needs to do is just not give things away, and that's.
I mean, right. There is meta planning here, right? What you
Ooh.
would do to win a given game is not what you might do to win the set. He's just gonna dump that book, and I don't think Noob is
I
too
don't
on
think
it.
we no. I don't think that was noticed, and like that's a ballsy move that you would not expect from someone who is down 5-2 right now in the set. But that's just the kind of move that like makes it like so good. No one who would do that.
That's who would do that is a particularly good thing against Noob because he asks himself those kinds of questions, right? Who would do that? Like I said, why do you think I was able to guess he was going to purloin anyway?
Quick
Because
green purloin.
and and here's what's really significant: during the microfilm and the reject, Noob was watching the ambassador. The ambassador has been moving around a ton, and he's been watching the ambassador very, very closely.
And this is just JY all over again with these super aggressive moves.
Oh,
and
look at that. He wants
I
to
don't
low-light
think-
hair for the purloin. He wants to low-light her ruler out, and he brings her right back up instead. That shows there's very little confidence, I think, about this purloin.
He has
Very
no
little.
idea what's going on with this purloin, it seems.
I think that's good. Yeah. So he's been staring down the ambassador. He's been so worried about bugs. It's ridiculous. He's zooming out, and the ambassador's hanging out front, which forces him to split his attention. And he's just been moving around a lot. Both hard tells happened while he was guarding the amba. So JY just needs to play nice and clean now.
And I think it was just contact, finish up that seduction. You have enough time for that as long as the DA doesn't literally stay outside of a conversation the entire game. Because, okay, I have had that happen to me on gallery before.
Sure. Oh yeah.
They can do that, and they can screw you over like that.
Spoiler alert: I wasn't with the DA, but I had a gallery game myself earlier today that let's just say, turned on AI behavior late in the game. Gallery can be treacherous like that.
Yeah. And I think here you want to go into this conversation, you want to BB, because that's harder to get down than the flirt. There needs to be a more specific spot,
yes,
specifically in conversation.
You can only banana bread in 2 places on gallery, but you can flirt on any outline on the floor.
Yes, exactly.
And there are quite a few of them. So.
And it doesn't even seem to matter.
Oh,
the
goodness.
Target just comes on over to us, and we get this deuce down, and we just need the contact, and I don't think we get shot for it.
Should have done it first. I think they don't know how much of a suspect they are for the purloin, but this is going to do it. This will be an amazing shot if he takes it.
Look at all these highlights that are just this is
clean.
This is brutal.
Great game.
Very, very clean game. The who would do it microfilm. They're down 5-2. Nets him his third game, 5-3.
And now, if you're JY, you're really mad at some of those tough losses because they're the difference between being deadlocked and still having a pretty significant deficit. JY is playing a really good game. And again, the key there was that Noob was really, I don't want to say selling out exactly because he's not, but disproportionately watching that ambassador who was disproportionately moving, for that matter, and particularly moving around outside where they're so vulnerable in that front conversation and you have to look at one rather than the other, where if they're in the back, you can watch multiple things at once. He did both his hard tells while the ambassador was running around, and it covered both of them.
Yeah, and here comes Modern. I believe it is, even with the extra 30 seconds, the most sniper-favored map venue in the game. But pwndnoob pulling off the exact same strategy here. Who watches books early on Modern?
Yep, going to do the same thing. And JY's taking an inordinate amount of time to getting his highlights and lowlights of the cast set up too. And that's just one free mission. And now it is 4 of 8.
Yes, and that is really hard to deal with on Modern. You'll give up 30 seconds for a mission every single time.
For the hardtail, that's not purloin. Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And here's the desperate thing about it. Unlike that path.
That path.
Oh boy, no, that's a good. If you ask me, that's a good path. I'm more likely to low light than highlight for that in a vacuum. Yes.
Okay.
Because who would do that? Why risk that?
Okay.
Why would you risk that? AIs will do weird little pathing quirks like that. They might not charge through the center, but they'll occasionally walk in front of someone. And there's just no upside to it, right? It's the risk reward is all skewed.
We break our animation, leaving the conversation. See, these things are mistakes that not many people will punish, but they are punishable. So it's something that, as pwndnoob, when you're up like this, I honestly don't think I would want to take that opportunity, give them that opportunity to catch these mistakes, minimize those mistakes that they can catch. We pick up the delegate. Of course, we can pick up the delegate. There's no reason not to. And we're gonna take that flirt. We're gonna stay here for pretty long, but it doesn't seem to be noticed. It was just a little bit long, just a little bit of overstay.
Oh, and you're not even next to them, and it's Modern.
Yeah,
that would be a crazy thing to be watching for.
That's really hard to think. Okay, he just overstayed for like a second.
Yeah.
is he the spy? You know,
Yeah.
when you're trying to
No.
watch missions at the same
It's
time,
not
it's just not something
maximal
you're gonna be watching.
attention. You have an attention budget, and that is a poor use of your attention budget, to say the least. He's gonna delegate to one of the most suspicious characters in the game, Smallman. Here's what's interesting, by the way, about that early microfilm. There are hard tells that leave a trace, which are good for framing, and there are hard tells which don't, which are good for getting missions done. The good thing about doing microfilm early is that JY has no idea it's done and is going to keep watching for a mission that has already happened.
Yeah, and
which relates to the attention
thing.
budget that I just mentioned.
And yeah, as I did just mention that I don't want to give up those quote unquote mistakes, and just another one here, right here, we cycled twice in the conversation. But at the bar there, it's just not something like no one's gonna watch that, right? It's so hard to notice. Although, thing is, the single cycle in an empty conversation, people do like to watch that. People like their eyes kind of get drawn
Some people
to
do.
it.
Yeah, some people do. But again, if they want to spend their attention that way on a venue like this, go for it.
Yeah, but it's just another mistake that you really do not have, especially because in this case it's spending more
There's
time.
some activity going on. Hang on, we're missing some stuff here. He gets a fingerprint at blue bookshelves, which is significant because he goes back to bookshelves, and he's going to grab another drink here, and that's a fingerprintable too. He is rushing this fingerprint. Obviously, really wants to get this done. The question is, does he really want to go to statues twice in the last minute? I don't think so. It's going to be a seduce and a BB.
Seduce contact, yeah.
Yeah, I assume so. This party's actually reasonably... This party's actually still pretty reasonably narrowed down, though.
Yes, I agree. This is it's okay for JY right now, but with when you only need flirt and contact and you're not a highlight yet, even with a narrowed down party, you're
I can't believe he hasn't done it
yet.
I can't believe he hasn't done it yet. This is about as good as you're going to get. Nope, and now 3 or 4 people move. It depends on what kind of handle he has on other lowlights. Maybe he really wants Smallman in there. He was in there before, but in a small conversation. Maybe he wants to be confident that Smallman is in with an SDA.
And he just doesn't even take it. He just leaves.
That's surprising. I think maybe he wants to rush it late. Maybe a swap in the back corner.
He gets highlights for fast talk.
If you narrow the party down that much, you can actually watch for things like flirt. And wow, JY is clearly watching as he leaves right after the talk. I think he might have just salvaged this game. Let's see what happens next.
That's gonna be a bug over there, and he's gonna get shot for it, I think.
He's looking. He's not confident.
We didn't see it.
He's thinking about it. You gotta shoot.
Take the shot. You gotta do it.
Oh goodness!
No.
He just hesitates, and that is almost certainly going to be the difference in this set. The difference between 6 to 3 and 5 to 4. Oh, so close.
No.
That's a pretty darn visible bug. And the timing, the beeline for the ambassador about someone you are clearly suspicious of, you gotta shoot there just for the behavior. If the bug is invisible, you might have to shoot there.
Yeah, that was something I think you just have to take that shot. You saw this guy go in there, insta talk, you highlight him for it, and suddenly you're paying attention to him, and you see that really quick leave, right next to the ambassador, and it's a visible bug, but it's also a general walking bug, so it's kind of hard to see, but you still have to take that shot, I think.
I think so. I think you have to be willing at this level. You know Noob can bug. You know General's got a good walking bug. You have to know that based on behavior alone, the idea, if that's an AI, well, then you can just complain about how unlucky you got after the game, right?
Exactly.
You got to play high percentage against the best spies. You're not going to get the perfect tell that you want to see every time. You're going to have to behave a little behaviorally. He had him. JY came so close to salvaging that game, and now...
Is this going to be another book rush 3 times in a row?
Well, we'll see. Look at that bar pile up. Oh my goodness!
This is the time to do it. Exactly.
He's going to be a little more conservative this time. He leaves with the book, goes for the briefcase, stops there for a moment, gets it taken by an AI. Yeah, we are in match point, by the way. JY needs 3 in a row to force overtime. But let me remind you, the opposite did happen to Noob in the group stages. He went up 6-3 on Cartwright. Cartwright won all 3, and they went on to play, I think, 4 overtimes. So Noob is not taking this for granted. He's been on both sides of this.
Cartwright went up 6-3 against Noob. Noob had to defend it.
Right, yes, sorry. Correct. So he's been on the other side of this. It doesn't take much.
And yeah, that was a heartbreaker for JY last game, and he's really gonna be kicking himself trying to make that one up this game. And he's been aggressive on his spy all set. It seems now that match point has reared its ugly head, he might be playing a little bit more conservative.
Yeah, it's certainly possible, and you actually can afford to a little bit because he's shown Noob a lot of mission progress. If the Noob has to make like a general null hypothesis, and I think you need that against most opponents. You need a null hypothesis of, based on what I know
And
about this
here we
player and
go,
situation.
microfilm again.
Yeah,
Let me go
based on
way
what I
over in my
know.
corner.
Yep. Based on what I know about this player and the situation, what's my default guess is whether or not they're going to finish?
Take a shot.
Yep, he's all over it. So,
Yep.
Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to say this, but during that crazy bar rush, the bar rush was so huge that I thought, well, Noob is smart enough to think, isn't this a great time to microfilm?
Yeah.
And they've both done it. So as you mentioned, it has entered the match meta, right? They've both seen it on replays at this point. Both people are aware that this has happened twice already. And I feel bad looking at this score. 7-3?
Yeah.
That doesn't feel right, does it, based on what we just
No.
saw?
And
JY was
that
so
is our
close.
set. And that is our set. pwndnoob takes the match over JY 7-3. And since it's we've only been here for a little bit, I'd like to talk briefly about maybe some predictions for the bracket stage, just a bit, since we didn't actually we're not able to actually put together a proper prediction. We can probably talk about that a bit, just before we.
Well, right, yeah.
sign
So
off.
Noob is on kind of one side of the bracket here.
And we actually have pwndnoob in here now. do we want an interview?
Any questions?
Let's just say we'll keep it brief because we're about to get into predictions and things like that. I guess the one thing, if I only had to ask one thing, I would ask, what about that gallery game, man? Did you think you were made? Because there's no way you thought you were low lit for that, right?
So the swap, I kind of just was at the statue, and I've got to make a reputation of swapping that statue. I don't want anybody to just not think I'm going to swap that statue.
Yeah.
The purloin, I was trying to do a green purloin and walk away.
Of course.
Yes.
And then I failed it miserably.
Mm-hmm.
So the only person I could figure looking across the party that could have been a suspect was Queen, because she was kind of nearby.
Yeah.
So I was looking to frame her, but she wasn't going into conversation. Then that bug fell to me, and I went, okay, I'm just going to finish, I guess.
Right.
When your ST came to you.
Yeah, I was like,
it was really something,
wasn't it? I was planning on framing Queen, but everything just fell correctly for me to actually finish. I purloined because I didn't think anything else was going to.
Oh, sure.
work.
No, the decision makes perfect sense. Where that game gets interesting is where you crash and get low lit, and so you're low lit and you have no earthly reason to expect you're anything other than a huge highlight. So then you don't want to finish, but then the party comes to you and you decide to finish anyway, not knowing you're low lit, and it just all lining up really, really
Yeah,
well.
I felt like some sort of instinct that I was low lit.
After the bug, at least.
After I didn't dive for the crash and then I didn't dive for the bug.
Yeah.
I was like, I might just be low lit. Either way, the purloin's the right play.
Yeah. So we're not releasing, at least, or we don't have the result of Crazy Kaylee versus Max Edward Snacks, but Kaylee obviously a significant favorite going into that match. It has taken place, that's all I'll say. So if he did in fact win, he would be your next opponent, correct?
Yeah.
I don't think I need to ask any follow-up questions. I think the intonation in your voice really says it all.
That's true.
Yeah. I mean, it could be a heck of a matchup, certainly.
I mean, we all know that Max Easy Snacks actually won that one. So
yeah, going away. Although you're either going to face Kaylee or you're going to face someone who beat Kaylee. So either way, you've got a tough road ahead of you, Noob.
I get a slightly better chance than a diamond. Like if I was meeting him in diamond, for example, because I get to do pub and Taeyan and
you've got options. You can make it interesting.
And terrace.
Mm-hmm.
So I get 3 maps out of. Technically, I've already 3-0 down. He's already going to win the ballroom sniping and the veranda sniping and the library sniping.
He has lost a veranda snipe game
He's lost a few veranda sniping games. KCM beat him too previously, but it's like...
Yeah. He lost one to Matt in group stages.
In group stages,
exactly.
Yeah. Don't be too defeatist now. We want a good matchup.
Oh, yeah, no, I'll just time that.
assuming Kaylee gets in there.
Yeah.
Which is a fairly good assumption.
I'm scared of Max. If Max beats Kaylee, then we know that Max is the spookiest man in life. So
yeah.
Okay, so
congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, pwndnoob. Yes.
And congratulations to JY, who, despite the score we were saying, actually played a really good set for the most part. Just a couple held shots, one bad low light, one held shot at the end, and that's the difference between 7-3 and neck, really.
Yeah.
I assume you agree, Noob. Some of those spy games of his were really strong.
The first 3 games, I was like, sweet, I'm the better player today. Let's go. And then I looked at the score at 5-3, and I went, why is it 5-3?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, no,
I should be tied right now.
he really threw some really strong counter punches, so I want to give him a lot of credit. And this is just another example of why you need to watch the match and not just look at the score, because I think anyone who watched this match thought, boy, geez, that was actually quite a fight.
Yeah, no, the same thing happened with Minty Rug. The same thing didn't happen with Cartwright because everybody saw it, and going into overtime's a clear sign that he's good. I've ran into people who, it's like one flub here or there, and obviously cleaning up your game is a long process. That's why most of the good players have like 10,000 games playing stupid. It's one mistake here or there, and that's the set.
I mean, people, honestly, just to monologue real quick about this, people don't understand how little these matches turn on when both players are good. It is so marginal, and people think, well, this must have happened, or oh, they played great today, or they played terribly. No, it really turns on the smallest of things, and you all just saw how.
You guys did catch the pub game, though, right?
Yes.
Where both the people who went to drink drinks came and surrounded me. I'm like, I have to take this list. There's no option here.
A fair amount of AI being nice to you this set, but it's still very good spy play, taking advantage of that. So
yeah, there were really good meta decisions we thought throughout the game, and hats off to both of you.
I will let you guys do predictions, despite the fact I'm pretty sure I did the first predictions. It's all gonna be pick me or Kaylee to win, because if I beat Kaylee, then he can't win. And if I beat Kaylee, I'm the best player in the spy party. So
that's how it works. That's how, as I understand it, it's like challenging for a belt in boxing.
Yeah, we're all on the same side of the bracket. OP and Track.
Yeah, we've actually got 3 of us right here. Yeah, Bear's the only one on the bottom side. Hey, Bear. Bear's the only one who would have to meet Kaylee in the finals out of this group here, right?
Okay, I'm gonna let you guys go though. I appreciate you letting me.
Thank you.
Soapbox here.
Congrats.
Thank you.
All right, so let's just go through the bracket real quick. As we mentioned,
let's take like 10 minutes to do this real fast. And
oh, I don't have nearly that much to say.
Oh, you don't have that much?
No. Well, I'm no good at predictions anyway. How could I make a confident prediction after the little thing I just gave about how everything turns on marginal little differences anyway? I'm not going to undercut my own point. But if we indeed get a Kaylee Noob matchup, I think that is an underrated matchup, because Noob has been studying, Kaylee for a long time, obviously, and he will game plan very effectively, and he's not afraid to do whatever it takes to win, right? There are a lot of players who just want to play their game, and they're going to play their game at pretty much all costs and make you beat them that way, and for a lot of players that works fine, especially the really good ones. Noob's not like that. Noob has tendencies, but he will do what he thinks will work. Doesn't matter if it's cheesy, doesn't matter if it's aggressive, doesn't matter if it's scary, he'll do it. So I expect him to really push Kaylee in the areas where Kaylee is a little more vulnerable. Not vulnerable, more vulnerable, relatively speaking.
Yeah, exactly, relatively speaking. There is no true vulnerability with Kaylee, but you have more vulnerable spots.
Yeah, you have, let's say, less armored spots. There's a couple layers of armor in some spots and just one layer somewhere else, It's a little like that, certainly. Yeah. And if you and I both win above that, we would be facing each other next for the right to play pwndnoob or Kaylee if they make it.
Of course. And so let's just go down the best of 16, predicting each match, and then we'll predict a dark horse for the whole thing.
Okay, I'm gonna defer or demur a lot, but go ahead.
Well, Kate Steam versus Warning Track. That I believe I'm gonna guess Track's gonna win that one. That was my expectation going into this.
I must recuse myself. I feel on this one.
I believe that you might have an idea of how that goes.
I played it earlier today, and that's all I'm gonna say. But I will say that Examine and Kadi, geez, I always say they get good so fast, and Kadi is no exception, man. They get good so fast.
Yeah. And next on the list is myself versus Screwloose.
Okay, I'll predict this one, and you can recuse yourself.
I will recuse myself.
I will make you a modest favorite, yes. Screwloose streams a lot, plays a lot, very good, and I really don't think any of the matchups are too obvious. I would say just based on activity and game count and all that, yeah, I'll make you a slight favorite, but I think you're going to have your hands full.
Yeah, Screwloose is not... He's no slouch, that's for sure. Definitely going to want to play my best there.
Yeah.
Crazy Kaylee versus Max Edwards Snacks already played, but how do you think that goes?
Well, I genuinely don't know. I'll say Kaylee, but I think Max got himself a few wins in there. I think this is, to be fair, and I think no one's going to be upset with me for saying this, probably the most lopsided of the matchups in the first round.
Yes, I agree. Kaylee obviously anybody he plays, that's outside of Diamond, it's generally going to be pretty lopsided.
Yeah, so prohibitive favorite, first of all, against, I think, maybe one of the lower game counts left in the tournament. Maybe Kadi, I think, is a little lower. He has about 800 or so.
Yeah.
So that's pretty significant. That's a lot to overcome. Too much has to go right. So Kaylee, yeah, certainly my pick. Ponu versus JY?
JY, we just saw?
I don't know. I don't want to venture a guess on that either. David W versus Cartwright is actually, I think, very, very interesting.
Oh yes, Cartwright has shown himself to be a powerhouse in the group stage, nearly taking down pwndnoob. We just talked to who we just talked to. David W, however, did take first over JY. In his group. So I think that's probably one of the closer matches we have.
I think you're right, and I think in particular, this might be very anecdotal, but I feel like David W is one of those handful of players who has just played significantly better in competitive settings than other settings. I just feel like there's a little bit of a rising to the occasion factor that I see now and then with David. He always performs, it never shocks me because he's a good player, right? I expect him to do well, but he always ends up doing a little better than I would have guessed. So I'm starting to wonder if there's something there, so I will definitely pick David there.
Yeah. Then we've got Lazy Bear versus Catnip going to be played tomorrow. Hopefully we'll have a live cast for that.
It would be very exciting.
But we're still trying to figure that one out right now. There's a lot of hectic.
So in gambling, they have games they call stayaways. It means this one's too risky, there are too many variables, or I'm not sure. So because in gambling, you can choose not to bet on something, right? You don't have to make a prediction. You don't have to put your money on the line. Lazy Bear versus Catnip is a stayaway because Lazy Bear is kind of like the on-paper favorite, but we saw Catnip play either much better or much worse in individual sets in the group stages, and that's kind of been the story, is that you're never really sure what kind of level of play you're going to get, but we know that the ceiling is fairly high, but the floor is also maybe a little lower too, so it could go either way, and you just don't know who's going to show up. If I have to pick, I'll pick Lazy Bear.
I would agree there. And it's not even because he's first seed, because Catnip came in second seed to Kaylee, who obviously,
doesn't matter. Yeah. right.
I think just a little bit advantage to Lazy Bear, but Catnip has a lot of potential to upset here. There's nothing is certain.
I actually don't want to affect the outcome by analyzing why I'm making that prediction too much, but there are play style interaction questions there that I think actually line up pretty well for Lazy Bear. You get this sort of with any person, I feel like, from between like 1,000 and 4,000 games before they've like really settled into something, or if they've been playing a crazy amount, there's still like a style question, right? Where there are general postures where like a very patient sniper against a slow playing spy, right? Things like that are just still going to be really dispositive. And I think that's still what's going on here. But but I wouldn't bet on it unless you made me. Yeah.
And now we've got Yeesh versus Rio. Going into it, I would give Yeesh the edge, although Rio definitely has the ability to upset. Because Rio is a good player.
Yeah, Yeesh is tough. Rio's a good player, first of all. As I said, none of these are too obvious. The only question with Yeesh is you have this weird dynamic where he's had so much success, and obviously sometimes we'll shoot for very spooky things, which tends to freak people out, right? If you take a shot for etiquette or behavior or something, it scares people. It doesn't necessarily mean the sniper's going to be better overall, because usually they're trading that attention for something else, but it freaks people out. It seems they seem like wizards.
Yes.
Yeesh is capable. Yeesh will take the occasional wizard shot, which scares people and freaks people out. He's also done really well in these competitive events. But the flip side is the competitive events, for example, have been the last two Summer Cups. He's won both of them, but he's also been one of the more experienced players who entered both the Summer Cups because they've come on the heels of SCL, and a lot of the more experienced players have decided not to play. Now, that's obviously not something he can control. He sure looks like he could compete with those higher level players, but you also haven't seen it happen in a competitive setting. So there's a lot of uncertainty there too.
Exactly.
So and that's the question with Yeesh.
In this Winter Cup particularly, we've got a lot of really experienced players, a lot of up-and-comers who have, have not played that much competitively, but have a lot of games under their belt. And that kind of comes into our next matchup, Aberar versus Iggy the Grifter. Aberar only, our host today. Hello.
Yes. We both have to recuse ourselves because we're talking about someone.
Yeah. He only played in Summer Cup so far for competitive. He technically didn't make it out of the groups, but he did make it out of the groups because he got third in his group. He had the most points for anyone who did not make it out of groups. Yep. And so when someone dropped out of the round of 16, he was able to go and play there.
Yep. To my chagrin, Aber has one of the most lopsided ratios of total games to competitive games that I can study, which was very frustrating when I had to play him in the group stages. And certainly I would like to think factored into his very impressive victory over yours truly.
Yeah, and as we talk about this match, Berar definitely, I think, has the advantage. It's probably one of the more lopsided matches behind Kaylee, and just behind Kaylee, really, and maybe Warning Track versus Kade.
Could be, yeah, but you know,
He just
Iggy's
doesn't
playing
have.
a lot. Yeah, and
He just doesn't have the amount of games that a bear has, and we've seen Iggy play in competitive settings before. Struggled a little bit in Challenger, which is which is not the best, but Iggy did make it out of the groups, so clearly not a slouch by any means. But I would give Berar the favorite.
Yeah, and it was, I'm not trying to denigrate anyone in particular, but one of the less intimidating groups. It was a wide open group where I felt like almost anyone could make it. The big question was turnout. How much is turnout playing? I don't think he was playing too much.
How does turnout turn out?
How does turnout turn out? Well done, sir. Well done. Oh, I'm just mad I didn't think of it. Yeah, but I think he was a little rusty still. The big thing with turnout is always, is he playing? We always say the trade-off is between activity and total game count, right? Which matters more? And increasingly, we've seen that recent activity matters a little bit more. But in the case of a Bear and Iggy, I think they're both being active. So if that's the case, the tiebreaker will go to game count, I think, and group stage performance, in which case I would give a Bear the edge.
Yeah. And that's it for our predictions. Do we have any dark horse candidates for going all the way?
I don't know about all the way. I'm not sure if we're going to see any crazy surprises there in the finals. But so seeing how the bracket lines up, if a Bear wins over Iggy and then has to face the winner of Yish Ryu, that's not too bad for them. And I think you kind of get the same thing with Lazy Bear and David W. I think if I got to pick one, it's Lazy Bear.
Yeah, and the bottom side of the bracket definitely has a lot more. It's a bit more open for dark horses to come out. It does seem to be
a little bit.
I mean, you've got two challenger players. You've got pwndnoob up in the top half of the bracket. Pwndnoob, what, is platinum?
Yeah, he's going to be platinum, and he's got 8,000 some games. Certainly, he's been just rising steadily. So
you got a lot of very strong players in the top bracket, which unfortunately I am.
Well, the three most in terms of just pure game count, the three most experienced players at the top of the bracket. And when you look at the bottom, Yish is pretty scary. But if you get, it's one of those things where if somebody scores an upset or something, someone at the bottom of the bracket could have a pretty okay route to the finals. And once you're in the finals, anything can happen.
Exactly. So I'd say going with dark horses, I'd go Rio, because if he manages to beat Yish, then he has, I think, a wide open path straight to the finals if he can just keep playing at the level he did against Yish if he wins.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we've got a pretty good handle on it. I think we figured it out, Ope.
Yeah.
I think we got it. Yeah, write it down, everybody. Everything we said, that's what's going to happen.
We are the best predictors you've ever seen.
Yes, we are the best predictors in Winter Cup history. Let's say that.
Exactly.
There you go.
I mean, the group stage predictions, they weren't all that accurate.
No, they're usually not. And like I said, these are players that don't play each other a lot. These are skill mismatches you don't get in SCL, and that's why it's so exciting. That's why it's so fun, and I can't wait to see how it turns out.
Although one person did predict Group 8 perfectly, and that was our player today, pwndnoob.
Yeah, I know. Thank you. One more, just twist the knife, and then we can sign off. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
All right. I've been Obi Wrights, here with Track, with a Bear graciously hosting us over on Spy Party Fans, which also has a Twitter, twitter.com/spypartyfans. And usually we stream on the Spy Party Twitch channel. Unfortunately, we didn't have anyone who's able to really host today, so we have the backup, luckily, and thanks for warning Track to allow.
Keep an eye on both accounts going forward. One way or another, we're going to get these things out to you.
Yeah, and we should have another stream tomorrow. Hopefully, another live game followed by a replay game, if we can get that to work out. So thanks everybody for watching, and have a wonderful day.